Hello and welcome to this next video on basic electrical repairing. So far we have tried to understand different types of tools that are used in the electrical repairing work. In this video we will try and understand the difference between insulator and conductor. Conductors and insulators are essential elements that you must be familiar with while you are working with electrical, and in order to help you understand that, we are going to take you through some of the common consumables that you will be using while working in the electrical trade. You can see these consumables in the screen now. There are wires kept there, there are some covers, some paper rolls which are kept here. So using these, we will try and understand what a conductor and an insulator. A conductor is essentially a component which allows electricity to pass through it, whereas an insulator is something that does not allow the current to pass through it. So some of the consumables that you see here in front of you are actually conductors and insulators. Let's take the case of this plier. So the plier has a conductor in the tip. The metal part that you see is a conductor which can conduct electricity, and the bottom part is actually the insulator. This is a polyvinyl chloride insulator which does not allow the current to pass through, and therefore when you hold it you will not feel an electric shock, because this insulator prevents the passage of electricity from the tip to your hands. So most of these tools that you use, like the cutter or the plier or the long nose plier, typically have an insulator covering on it which will prevent the current from passing through from the metal point to your hand. It is the same thing with all the wires as well. Even in the wires you will see a PVC covering for all the wires, and inside the PVC covering is where the actual wire is. So the wire inside is actually a conductor of electricity, whereas the cover or the insulator that you have outside is something that prevents the electricity to be transferred, or it does not conduct electricity. As a result, when you hold this wire, even if there is electricity passing through in the inside wire, you will not feel a shock in your hand. Now there are different types of wires. So let's try and understand some of the common wires that are used. So the first one that we saw, the yellow color one, is actually called a 118 wire. Now typically wires are classified based on their gauges and the number of cores that it has. A 118 wire basically means that it has a single core. As you can see, there's only one wire that's jutting out of it, and 18 signifies the thickness of the wire, which is measured in the form of a gauge. You can use a standard wire gauge, a small tool which is in a circular format, to measure the gauge of these wires. So a 118 basically means this wire has one core or one single wire jutting out, which is of a gauge of 18. Now this is a different type of wire. This is called a multi-wire. A multi-wire basically has small wires, a lot of small wires in it. As you can see very closely, the tip has multiple wires which are inside it, and it's covered by a PVC insulator. The reason why we use multi-wire these days is because it's very flexible and you can use it in multiple positions, locations, unlike a single core wire. So in a typical multi-wire, you will see many wires jutting out. In multi-wires, the thickness is measured in the form of millimeters. So you can get wires of multiple thicknesses, and depending on the requirement, you can choose different multi-wires. For example, the green one is a 1.5 mm wire, whereas the black one is a 1 mm wire. So you have 1 mm, 1.5 mm, and then there is a 2 mm wire as well. So depending on the requirement, you use different types of wires or different thickness of wires. And you can see the thickness of the wires also. So the 1 mm black one is slightly thinner than the 1.5 mm green wire. So the thickness and the quantity of wires will also differ depending on the size of the wire. So this wire is actually a 2 mm wire. The red color one is a 2 mm wire. It's even more thicker than the 1.5 or 1 mm wire, and you can see the thickness very clearly. The thickness of the wire determines the capacity for a wire to take the load. For example, something like a geyser or voltage stabilizers will probably require a higher thickness wire. For example, an AC might require a 4 mm wire, because the higher the thickness, the higher the ability for the wire to take on heat. And if you use a thinner wire where the load is high, the wire might melt due to the excessive heat generated by the electricity. Hence, it is important to identify the right thickness of wire for the right equipment in order to ensure that there is safe electric supply across points in the house or even for the equipment. Another type of wire is a typical multi-core wire. This is a 7-core wire. You would typically see 7 individual wires jutting out from this. So this wire is called 720. The reason why we call it is 720 is because there are 7 different cores, and the gauge or the thickness of each of these wires is actually 20, and that's the reason why this is called a 720 wire. So you can see clearly you can see the differences. Now among these wires there is no the quality or the reason to use a wire is dependent on what you are going to be using the wire for. Is it for heavy equipments or is it for lighter equipments? That should help you determine what thickness you should be using. So a typical 7-core wire, when they combine together jointly, the thickness becomes very high, and that will ensure that it is able to withstand the necessity to pass electricity for heavy appliances. Now let us try and open another insulator in one of the wires to see what kind of wire this is. You can do this using the combination plier. You can use a tool called stripper or a wire stripper that can be used to strip off the insulation part of the wire. Now, while you are removing the insulation part, just be careful that you don't cut off the wire while you are doing this. Now we have removed the insulation, and you can clearly see how many cores are there. So there are three wires here. So this is 3-core, and each of them is around 18. The gauge is around 18. So this is a 318 wire. So the wire's thickness is very good. So typically these kind of wires, such as the 318 ones, are used for heavy lines or equipments that require heavy electric supply. Apart from this is another type of wire called a flexible wire. Flexible wire typically has 2 wires intertwined with each other. A very lightweight, very light, cannot be used for high voltage equipments. This is typically used for connecting a tube light or maybe the fan and so on. Any equipment that requires very less load can be used connected using the flexible wire. This is flexible and is very easy to get intertwined into smaller locations. Apart from this, this is another type of wire. So it's called a cable wire. This is a 3-core cable which typically has 3 different points. In this case, you see these 3 different points, and in these points you can connect equipments which require heavy electricity. So the wires are for specific reasons. The red is for the phase, black is for the neutral, and green is for the earthing. So any equipments that require heavy load with earthing requires the 3 type of coil. Apart from the wires, the quality or the material with which wires are made are also important. Most wires are either made of aluminum and copper. Copper wires are typically slightly more expensive compared to the aluminum wires, but aluminum wires are also used in many places. The reason why an aluminum wire is better is because it does not get rust, water or any of that will not have any impact on the quality of the aluminum wire. A copper wire is far better in terms of conducting electricity. So it depends on whether you want to spend the kind of money on a copper wire. You can see the difference there. The green one is the copper wire and the blue one is the aluminum wire. Typically the aluminum wires don't take too much load, whereas copper wires can withstand heavy loads. So there are advantages and disadvantages. So typically when you need to use aluminum for heavy equipments, we use wires with multiple aluminum wires within to increase the thickness and the ability to conduct high level of electricity. So apart from these, one other important wire that is used is the wire that's used for service line or to connect from the electricity pole to your mains. So service lines also typically use many a times use aluminum core. Because the thickness of the aluminum core in these wires are very high, they will be able to conduct high levels of electricity. And at this level of thickness, copper wires can be very expensive, and that's the reason why aluminum wires are used in many places. You can very clearly see there are two leads here, one for the phase and one for neutral, and most of these wires will also have an earthing cable also inside it, which will ensure that the electricity is earthed, the connection is earthed properly. So in outside weather conditions, aluminum wires are much better because they don't have carbon depositing on it, and they are far more stronger as well than copper wires, and those are the reasons why aluminum wires are preferred for any outside connections which are open to the vagaries of nature. Now, one last wire that you will also notice is this roll of wire. This is called an insulated wire or enameled wire. It's also called magnet wire. Now, these wires, although they look bare, they have a coating of enamel on top of it, which acts as an insulator for each of these wires. Just as you have PVC insulators on these, there are very minute insulators that are coated on top of these wires. These insulators are usually made of zinc or sometimes polyurethane or polyvinyl and several other substances that act as good insulators. These are used in motor winding, where the wire is wound very closely to each other, and you don't want any of those wires to come in contact with each other because that could result in short circuit. So they are coated very finely with one of these coating substances, ensuring that they are insulated properly. And in order to remove the insulation, you can try multiple things. One option is to use the tip of a soldering iron to actually remove the insulation and then solder it whenever you want to solder it in specific locations. So in this video, we tried to understand some of the conductors and insulators, and particularly types of wires and how you can identify which wire is what using a visual inspection of these wires. Going forward, in the next video, we will try and understand a little more about insulators. Thank you. Hello and welcome to this next video on basic electrical repairing. In the earlier video, we were talking about conductors and insulators, and we spoke about different types of wires and how the conductor and insulator are placed in these wires. In this video, we will also take this discussion forward by trying to understand a little more about different types of conductors and insulators using some of the common elements or equipments that we normally find in the electrical trade. Now, first of all, let's take this electric bulb. The bulb has a filament inside it, which is actually a conductor of electricity, and the outside has a glass component. This glass is actually an insulator. It does not conduct electricity, whereas the bottom 2 points that you see, or the metal points that you see here, are good conductors of electricity. And so while you are working in an actual line, if you touch any of these, you will get an electric shock. In between these 2 points, the black color thing is actually a cork, which is a good insulator, and that ensures that the 2 points do not come in contact with each other. Now, inside the bulb, there is a very thin filament which is made of tungsten. Tungsten has very high resistance to electricity, and that is the reason why the filament heats up when electric supply is passed through the filament. And as soon as it heats up, the gas which is inside ensures that the light is displayed out. The gas inside is called argon, and that ensures that the bulb illuminates and the light is spread out evenly through the bulb. So you can see very clearly there is a tungsten filament inside, which is what causes the light. It has high resistance, and that's why it heats up when electric current is passed through. So this tungsten filament is actually a good conductor of electricity, whereas the glass outside is a very bad conductor, or in other words, it's an insulator in a bulb. The other thing that we see here is a bulb holder. The outside part is a PVC part, or sometimes made of plastic. So this is an insulator. It does not conduct electricity, whereas the inside metal parts that you would see here are actually conductors. And so while you are working in the electric line, you must not touch any of these inner parts here, because these are conductors of electricity and can result in an electric shock. So when you are working on this, you always hold it by the PVC end and not with any of the metal points on the bulb holder. So the outside part is an insulator, whereas the inside metal part is actually a conductor in a bulb holder. Moving on, this is a small piece of wood, and wood, I am sure all of you understand, that is a very bad conductor of electricity. In many instances, while doing motor winding and other cases, we use the wood as a good insulator to ensure that there is no power supply from one part to the other part of the motor. Another such insulator is the leatherite paper. Leatherite paper is also an insulator. In motor winding, we use this commonly. This leatherite paper has capability to withstand very high level of heat, and it will not burn up in very high temperatures, and that is why we use the leatherite paper while doing motor winding. These papers come in very different thicknesses of 7 mm, 8 mm and so on and so forth. So depending on the motor that you are working on, you can pick and choose a particular leatherite paper, because this acts as a very effective insulator, and it ensures that two wires do not come in contact, or even if they come in, if they are very close to each other, the leatherite paper acts as an insulator, preventing the flow of current from one wire to the other wire. One more similar paper is called a PVC paper. This is made of PVC or polyvinyl chloride. This is also a good insulator, and this is wound around the wires while you are doing motor winding. This again comes in different thicknesses, and you can pick up the respective thickness depending on where you want an insulator, or where you want some part to be insulated completely from the other parts. This wire is used in motor winding to ensure that the coil does not come in contact with the body of the motor, and thereby avoiding any short circuit of the entire winding. Now these are called slips. Slips come in again different sizes, different thicknesses. So when you are making joints between two wires, we use a slip to cover those joints. This ensures that the joints are intact and they are insulated properly. Typically when you are making joints, you have to remove the insulation from the wire. So after you remove the insulation from the wire, you place the joint inside these slips. And these are typically like straws. So when you put them inside, these function like insulator, ensuring that there is the electricity supply is not carried outside of the wire. Now this is a coil of an electric iron box. Here we have used something called as a nichrome wire, which is again a very good conductor of electricity. It also has a very high resistance level, thereby ensuring that it heats up the metal that it is wound around. Underneath is mica. Mica has very high resistance to heat, and that is the reason why mica is used as a good insulator and is typically found in most of the iron boxes. So the top part has nichrome winding, and that heats up the conductor part, and underneath is the insulator, which is made of mica, which ensures that the heat is transferred to the metal surrounding it without melting. This is cotton thread. Cotton thread is again another good insulator. You can use this for winding around wires. In earlier days, insulation used to happen with cotton wires, but nowadays we use mostly PVC and other rubberized insulation. This is a tape which is commonly used in electrical thing. This is also made from PVC. Whenever you are joining two wires or making joints, we cover the joint using the PVC tape to ensure that the joint is protected and it does not conduct electricity outside of the joint. It is also commonly used in a lot of circuits. It is a good insulator. Apart from these, a few other insulators such as these cardboard paper that you see at the back are also very common in electrical trade. The cardboard basically is a very good insulator and prevents electricity from getting transmitted from one point to the other. So you can use this as a blocking point to ensure that two wires don't come in contact with each other while they are in a circuit or while they are in an appliance or an equipment. So, these are some of the conductors and insulators as we saw in these two videos. Now, there are a few other insulators that are essential from a safety perspective, especially while you are working with electrical equipments or electrical line. Number one is you must always wear slippers or shoes while you are working on electric line. This is because the shoe or the slipper acts as a good insulator and prevents electricity flowing through your body to the ground. If there is a faulty line and electricity finds a way to flow through to the ground, typically if you are not wearing a slipper or a shoe, it can result in an electric shock to your body, and that is why it is important to always wear shoes or slippers while you are working in the electric line. You can also use stools or short tables made of wood or plastic while you are working on electric lines, because wood or plastic are also insulators, or in other words bad conductors of electricity, and can prevent or save you from an electric shock. So, in summary, a conductor is something which allows electricity to pass through it, and insulator is something that prevents electricity from flowing through it or does not conduct electricity through it. Most metal items typically are conductors of electricity. There could be some exceptions, and other items such as plastic, glass, polyvinyl chloride, PVC, piping and so on are typically wood are bad conductors of electricity and can be used as effective insulators. Now, among all conductors, the best conductor is probably silver, but obviously silver is a very expensive thing to be used in wires, and hence we use copper and aluminum. Copper is the next best conductor, and aluminum is the third best conductor of electricity. One other thing you must understand is that you should never have wet hands while working on electricity, because water is again a very good conductor of electricity. We do hope you would have understood a lot about conductors and insulators in these two videos. Let's keep learning. Thank you.